There it is. There's the bugle. When you hear the bugle, you know what that means. It is time to get on the ball with a little bit of the Nudelberg Daily Huddle. Good morning.
Good morning. It is an absolute pleasure to be here and in the right frame of mind, because I will tell you this, being out for 4+ hours in my surgery, and then the additional drugs to to kill the pain. I didn't even know where I was, man. It's really good to be back. I am so grateful for all of the messages, when you really can't do anything else and all you do is sit there and listen and watch social media. It's actually kind of nice. People reaching out from all over the place to wish me, we'll get speedy recovery, get well. So I'm here, I'm up. I have a certain sense of clarity, but I will also be careful because at 62 years old, this kicked my ass.
Can't overdo it. You can't overdo it on the way back. You got to take your time, but we're glad to have you back on this Monday. Glad that you took some time to recover. You played hurt yesterday.
I played hurt. It was great to show up, and I can't wait till we get to this. But, the world has changed. There's a solution for everything if you look for it. So, the old adage of, hey, if you're sick, you drink or you have chicken noodle soup. Mm-hmm. The Dykes family just so amazingly shows up, bam, and Love by the Spoonful, the Spoonful of Comfort Company sent me, just an amazing package of cookies, rolls, and chicken noodle soup. And let me tell you something, I dug right into the chicken noodle soup, and they call it Jewish penicillin. It was on target. It was easy to digest, helped me feel really great. There's Husto. Great seeing you yesterday. And then, like you said, I got up yesterday. I was able to shower for the first time, which I don't know how other countries don't shower, man. That shit is crazy. It felt great, got dressed, and then went to just an amazing event, which I'll allow you to share.
Yeah, we got to have Jules baptized yesterday. So we had a huge gathering of the family. It was awesome. And we had the immediate family there, and not pictured is Andy and Lena, who were there with us. And it was just great. I mean, it was a fantastic celebration of life, of family, of faith, which is kind of what I posted about this morning. Because I think, people say, oh, don't talk about politics, don't talk about religion. I think if you can't have a faith conversation and understand the power of faith, regardless of what somebody else's faith is or what they believe, it was just a great celebration yesterday. So shout out to Father Bob and Blessed Sacrament. It was a great church service, and shout out to Pomperdale's for giving us some unbelievable food for after.
So the best part of yesterday was you don't normally see the Nudelberg family in a Catholic church.
That's right.
But it is. And Father Bob was great about it. Wherever you get your faith from, wherever you get your inspiration, living a life without faith is undisciplined and really difficult. So whatever you choose to follow, and I'm so thrilled that you're passing that gift on. But at the end of the sermon, which was a great sermon, and This is good. These are people who are trained to motivate and inspire people. He reaches behind the pulpit and comes up with a box of noodles.
He called Jules Little Noodle the whole ceremony, which is really cool. Like,
so to me, it was a wonderful sharing of customs, and I think you and your wife have done an amazing job. Super proud and super great to be part of. It was really a wonderful event, and blessings ahead.
And one last update from the weekend is the Finns got a W. And for those of you who want to take some lessons or believe that lessons are everywhere, when you watch the way that Mike McDaniel managed the game, his first preseason game, he didn't treat it like it was a game that didn't count. He practiced every situation. He put himself in a real life scenario of saying, this counts, this means something. And the way that that transferred to the team and the way that they played and the way he handled situations in order to help them get the win was really cool. It was really awesome to see. So I'm super excited about it.
So Bo Camper interviewed him. Yeah, Bo Camper interviewed him. He's like, did you get any butterflies and stuff? He's like, this is what I do. Like, I don't do anything else. This is it.
Right.
Like,
this is my life. This is what I've been preparing for my entire life. He called himself a football nerd, which I thought was very cool.
Okay. So, like, if you look at social media, people say we're 1-0, we're undefeated, we're going to win the Super Bowl. It's a preseason game where nobody played. Nobody played on the Dolphin side and nobody played on the Tampa Bay side. They had practices. They're getting better. I don't know how you draw any conclusions other than the spirit of the team, I will give you, was up.
How you play the game matters.
How you play the game matters. And they took it seriously. They practiced in-game situations, that to me, it's all about reps. It's all about practice.
Do the reps.
I interviewed him at halftime, the head coach at halftime. He said, they asked you, what do you think? He goes, I love the fact that we had adversity right off the bat, because now I know that the team is going to show up, and they were high-fiving and Tua was all over Spencer. Right. But to hear some of these morons talk about,
just let people be fans, man. Stop robbing. Just because your Jets are struggling already and you guys have already lost your starting quarterback and your season's in the toilet before you even got started.
In 2 days, we lost the number one lineman and the quarterback.
Right.
Seriously, Howie, I know you're here to
Jets fan.
We're cursed. It sucks.
All right. So without any further ado, we've got lots of content to get to today. We're going to talk about National Relaxation Day real quickly. Then we're going to get to some morning motivational music. And then we are going to introduce you guys to the newest staff member at On the Ball, the newest coach, Jenn Lederer. So let's go. Let's get to some wake up music and let's get back and let's get to it.
Wake up, everybody! Get up! Get up! Get up! Get up! Wake up! Come on! Come on! Wake up, everybody! Teach a new way. Maybe then they'll listen what you have to say. Wake up, everybody! No more sleeping in there. No more back to thinking, time for thinking ahead. Come on now.
So I always like to shout out names and faces of people that are not here all the time. Good morning, Stacy Miller. Thank you for showing up to the Daily Huddle. Everybody in the huddle, please wish her a happy welcome, a happy Monday morning. Good to see you.
Welcome, Stacy.
Take it away, son.
So today is National Relaxation Day. Why is that important? Why did I actually pull this out to say I want to talk about this? Because I think we have a brand of energy, right? We show up with high energy, emotional, right? We're passionate. That can be good and bad at the same time. I think if you don't understand how to leverage that and use that to your advantage, but you allow yourself to be emotional in all situations, you lose credibility, you lose trust. A lot of negative things happen from that. So on National Relaxation Day, I want to talk about some techniques that we talk about with people to be able to put your emotions in check and say, whoa, wait a minute, let me relax for a second.
So you talk about energy. The surgeon came in to visit me before, and the nurses were talking to him, and the surgeon looks at the nurses and go, this guy's probably going to wake up and direct me.
Right.
Energy goes everywhere. People recognize it. But to your point, if you don't figure out a way to turn it off or to downshift, you burn out. You can't go at that energy all the time. Like Michael Jordan talked about, you got to find your place. So
the breath focus is probably the most common of the techniques that people talk about, which really you could do it a lot of different ways. Simply taking a 5-second pause with 5 deep breaths, like as you feel yourself start to get worked up, taking a step back, breathing, allowing there to be some space and some time is a great way to put your heart rate and your emotions in check before you allow yourself to respond emotionally. Another one, and another great technique.
Stay on breathing. So breathing is something, I could do a whole show on that tomorrow.
Right.
It's unbelievable. Breathing, you think is something that just comes natural. Well, I'm a human. I breathe. How to breathe, when to breathe, the rhythm of breathing all affects your blood cells, your brain cells, all that kind of stuff. Jesse Itzler talks about it all the time. Mel Robbins talks about the 5-second rule, where she says, don't make decisions, count backwards, which is really a way to breathe. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So this is not just hey, breathe. Because
that's interesting though, because I think not everybody breathes, right? Like sometimes you might take that pause, and if you're holding your breath, then you're holding that tension. And you're only allowing that attention to, build more for an eruption. So that breathing is so important to that. Another great way to shift your focus is with the body scan. I mean, there are athletes that use this at the end of every day, where they lay in their bed, they feel where the tension is in their body, and they send their mental focus to that area. I mean, really, as humans, and I've kind of dove into this a little bit. There's somebody that I've been talking with a bunch about it, Ford Dykes. Shout out to Ford, who's a teacher at Auburn. He's done a whole dissertation and a doctorate on this, the capacity of the brain and what it's able to do when you channel the focus. It can actually unlock the stress in your body. So when you focus all of your attention in one certain area of your body, that allows you to sit there and meditate on that, if you will. Another great opportunity for you to relax and reduce some stress. I don't know if there's any other ones that you wanted to shout out that you thought were really worth talking about.
No, I think the focus on the body itself, you were given this temple, you and Jake are really into this whoop thing, whoop, whoop, whoop. Lori talks about your Apple Watch. I don't happen to monitor it, but I do understand the value, especially after coming out of surgery. I was hurt. My body was healing. It needed sleep. It needed rest. If you don't give it that rest, it's going to bite you in the ass. So, I think all of this mindset stuff, it's when the mindset becomes physical, and so when we talk about mindset, it's not just your thoughts, it's the physicalization of a lot of this stuff. And that's where tension and stress. I know Lori was talking to me last week that she's now regularly getting massage. Massage is a great thing. It loosens, removes toxins. So breathing, massage, prayer, meditation, all this stuff is not bullshit. Take care of the temple. You only got one.
Which, by the way, if you're not sure where that comes from, that comes from the faiths that were created thousands and thousands of years ago. Whether you talk about meditation that comes out of Hinduism, or you talk about repetitive prayer, which is another way to recenter and refocus your mind and block out a lot of the noise. So great stuff on how to relax, refocus yourself on National Relaxation Day. We are going to go to some relaxing morning motivational music, and then we are welcoming Jenn to the squad.
Seven women on my mind, 4 that wanna hold me to the just only once, and she's a friend of mine. Take it easy, take it easy. Don't let the sound of your own wheels drive you crazy. Lighten up while you still can. Don't even try to understand. Just find a place and play your hand. Take it easy.
Little did you know that they were the backup band for Linda Ronstadt.
So, and for those of you who couldn't see the video, there was another way for people to relax a little bit in the beginning of that video. I don't know if you caught the lady took a little hit of the joint right at the start of the song.
So Dan Nelson hit Wim Hof is who Jesse talks about all the time about breathing, but we need time for Jenn. So please
let's go. So Jenn, let's welcome her in, bring her in. Jenn,
hey
welcome to the squad. Welcome to the show.
Thank
welcome to the Nudelberg Daily Huddle.
She gets the big
excited.
box too. Look at this.
I get the big box, Steve. Of course I do. Come on.
Center of attention right now. So Jenn, let me give some context for everybody. We have added Jenn to the roster as another on the ball coach. She has a master's degree in the real life sense of a master's degree in communication, but I'm going to let you tell your story. So give us a little bit of background on Jenn, where you come from and how you got to where you are.
Yeah, I am originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I've been in New York City for 15 years, but I do still bleed black and gold. Can't seem to shake that. I moved to New York after college, after earning my degree in dance. That's what brought me here. So yes to the connection to your body. Yes to understanding what your body is always telling you. So I've been on stage. I've been in the entertainment industry my entire career in many different ways. I wrote an off-Broadway show. I co-wrote an album. I was a talent manager for 5 years, representing actors for film, TV, and theater. And that really gave me a master's degree in not only communications, but communicating value in somebody's craft, in really understanding how to pitch a human being for something that they love doing, and helping people mentally understanding how to get up and fight the good fight again when your career is 90% rejection. That career really helped me get into the minds of creatives. And if you're sitting there saying, well, I'm not a creative, I can't wait to convince you otherwise, because everyone is creative. It really just depends on how you see it. Then I got into motivational speaking, because when I was representing actors, I couldn't represent every single one that I believed in, but I could give them the information that they needed. I could help them understand that you are the one that we want to succeed. We would love to not go through another 8 hours of casting to find the person that we're looking for. And that's true in every industry. Everyone is hoping that you are the answer. You have to be confident enough to walk into the room and show them, yes, I am. And I'm better than you ever thought to ask for.
So I want to pause you for a second, because you said something that I think is really important. Like, you dealt in an industry that failure is unbelievably high, right?
Yeah.
Like we talk about in sales all the time, like if you get 3 out of 10, you're in the Hall of Fame. You get 3 out of 10 in Hollywood, like forget it. You're like, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Exactly.
What prepared you to deal with failure in order to help others be able to do that? How were you so, in such a good place to be able to do that for others?
Well, I was on stage my entire life. And so I think when they were represented by someone who really understood where they are, not because I just conceptually understood it, but I've literally stood in their shoes. I've been in audition rooms. I've been rejected. I have had to pick myself back up again. That understanding, I mean, when you talk to someone who's walked where you're walking, it's just completely different. And that really kind of stood me out compared to some other agents and managers who never really got in the ring themselves. I knew exactly what they were feeling. And so when they were on that ledge of, I don't want to go, or I just went and it was horrible, I was able to know what part of their mind was actually talking to them, and it was their fear and ego, not their soul and not their talent in that moment. And that's the kind of pendulum swing that you go between all the time.
I love that.
So going along the line of, which I have believed my whole life, you're only one introduction away from changing the trajectory of your life.
Mm-hmm.
You delve into how we met and what this journey has looked like to bring you to our team?
Yeah, I was a motivational speaker when Steve and I were introduced. I was doing a podcast, and so I was able to bring Steve onto my show. It was called Weekly Alignment, where I would bring humor into helping people realign with their power, with their focus, with their own motivation. And as I was speaking, everyone's feedback was always, your funny stuff is amazing. Your funny stuff is amazing. I would love more of that. And I love a challenge. And so I was like, what would it be like to actually embody being a comedian? Because it's one thing to be accidentally funny. It's a whole other thing to be purposely funny. It's a whole other thing to be the one that gets on stage and people say, oh, she's supposed to be funny. And they lean back and cross their arms and you have to unlock them completely. So I have been doing comedy actively since 2018. And I have seen how much laughter brings rooms together, helps people see things in a new perspective. And I have always infused comedy and laughter into my coaching. I think a good cry is awesome, but a good laugh can get you to a breakthrough just as easily if you're willing to remember that you can be really serious about something and laugh at the same time. Laughter does not negate something being serious.
So I think you've touched on so many points in there that I think are really important in your very unique curriculum on how to help people communicate. Mm-hmm. When did you really say, you know what, people need to learn this craft, mm-hmm. and I have a very unique way in order to be able to put that out there? When did you start putting that together in your mind, and how did you come up with that?
People kept asking me how I'm doing what I'm doing. They see me change directions anytime I want. They see me shapeshift into any industry that I want. They're like, how are you doing it? How do you get people to say yes to you no matter what it is that you're doing? And so I was like, okay, I know how I'm doing it, which is really just being a human. And people have a hard time being themselves when they all of a sudden have to be themselves. They forget who they are. And so being on stage, being a comedian, understanding how to connect with people, understanding storytelling, understanding what people really want when they're in a conversation is everything to building your career and building your network, which you guys know is everything. So it was really just, hey, Jen, how are you doing what you're doing? And then me reverse engineering and making a formula out of it. So I can
like that parallel that you pulled when you talked about getting on stage and people saying, okay, you're supposed to be funny, and having to disarm people before you earn the right to be able to make them laugh. That's right. Parallel to that in business, I think, is incredible because everybody has that guard up of like, all right, you're trying to sell me something, or there's a reason you're trying to connect with me. So having the ability to disarm people to get them to open up to build the relationship, to then be able to hopefully one day find a way to work together or find a way to help each other is so great. It's my brain worked that same way when it came to football and what we were doing. It was drawing those parallels. What's something?
Interesting, Mark.
Yeah, go ahead, Deb.
What's interesting, and this is the line of the century, I think. People have a hard time being themselves when they need to be themselves. Right. People are used to being what they do, not who they are. Right. And I think that's the basis of all of our LinkedIn training is be yourselves. Where I was attracted to Jen's content when we reconnected after a couple of years was like, we could show you the technique, we can show you the process, but showing you how to be yourself. There are people like, I just don't know how, which is insane. It should be the simplest thing. It's not easy, but so speak to that. Like, talk about some of the transformations you've seen.
I mean, I see transformations within a 90-minute workshop where people walk in and they say, I hate talking about myself. I have no idea what to say. I do nothing but jargon. I'm in tech. No one cares what I have to say. And by the end, they won't shut up, Steve. I cannot get these people to stop talking about who they are and what they do. And it's just amazing to see. And it's even more amazing to feel. Like when you feel someone click in to themselves, when you feel someone click into remembering, I don't have to be interesting, I have to be interested, it changes everything. Because get the focus off of yourself. The worst performer in the world is on stage thinking about themselves.
Right.
You have to be focused on the audience, and your audience can be one person that you're talking to. And we get so in our head about, okay, they just asked what I do, now I have to impress them. No, you don't. They were never looking to be impressed. The last thing they want to do is like feel you try to impress them. Now you're selling me before I even asked you anything. I really just wanted to connect.
You hit on that, like you talked about, like people don't care what I have to say, or some of those, I think, things that most people think. What are like one or two of like the biggest challenges that you see people have, or the biggest problems that you see them have when it comes to communicating that you've helped them overcome?
They ramble and they list off all of the certifications and jargon that they memorized from their resume to be really impressive,
right,
and sound like a robot.
So how do you help them overcome those?
So no one outside of your industry really cares about your certification. And even when they're in your industry, they're like, okay, I've heard it. Yeah, I know that training, but I'm still trying to figure out who Jenn is. And so your certifications come in at the end. Like once your story is laid out, once people are really interested in who you are, what you're about, why you do what you do, how you do what you do that's different. Okay, and by the way, where did you get trained? What are you up to? All of that. That is secondary. But in our mind, we put it first because we sit there saying, I intrinsically don't have value. And so let me put forward the thing that I think is valuable, which is this certification or my degree or whatever. And that is not the value. Your humanness is always the value. And that's on every stage and every room that I've ever been in.
Well, we were always taught as kids, don't talk about yourself. That was egotistical. And the reality is that's the real thing that you're selling is yourself. So the more you move away from yourself, the more commoditized you get. And I just find you a joy and fun. And I'm so glad that we reconnected. In closing, Mark, as the head coach of the new staff, we've just added 2 women, Jenn being the second. What did you see in Jenn, and what can you tell our audience? What makes her a good fit for us?
So the intangibles, her ability to teach and educate, right? Like all I had to do was be in one setting with her where we were able to connect. And then she was able to educate me about what she was able to do and how she was able to do it. That to me is what will separate us from everybody else as we continue to build the roster of expertise. Is it's not about the certification. It's not about the logo on the door. It's about the coaches and how they deliver what they have to deliver. And Jenn offers her ability to teach people to communicate in a way that is very unique and very personable. And I loved it. And so first of all, I'm excited for you to continue your journey of sharing your content on LinkedIn. So if those of you who are not connected with LinkedIn or connected with Jenn, ensure that you reach out to her today, because you will start to see some fantastic stuff coming from her that's educational and right on brand for her. So, I could go on for days.
Well, I will tell you that what got me fired up was that I started watching her comedic journey. She during the pandemic just says, I'm out of here. I'm going to Europe. And she moves to Europe, and I'm seeing some of the content, and the content moved me into that zone where I was borderline uncomfortable. It was like, I don't know. And I said, good for you. That's what makes you different. We started this conversation. You will see a lot more of her. There will be opportunities to meet her, greet her,
There will be an event coming soon. I can promise you that.
Yes, I guarantee it. So like super cool stuff. Super glad you're here. Next up, I want you to do my podcast. Tell me something good, because this will be great. But if you really think about it, Mark, we've added 3 women: Cindy Metzler, Lori Salarillo, and so,
that's right. Two coaches and a support staff member that we are growing the team consistently. Super excited to have you on the team, Jen. Thanks so much for joining, and looking forward to doing more with you soon. I'm
excited to be here. Thank you.
Have a great day. Let's get down to business.
Let's do it.
Please don't worry about me. I'm about to let my heart speak. My friends keep telling me to leave this. So let's get down to business. Let's get down to business. Give you one more night